The reason that you're not as successful as you can be, as you want to be, as you were called to be, has nothing to do with your skill, has also nothing to do with your will. But what if I told you that distractions actually play a bigger role in your life than you're giving credit to? And if you were more present centered, then you would be able to show up better, produce more, and be able to be a better leader. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Contagious Culture podcast. I'm your host, Kyle King. And the goal of this podcast is to help you create an ecosystem of academic excellence through inspiring conversations, practical strategies, and actionable insights. We empower educators, change makers, and leaders just like yourself. Do one thing: foster trust, collaboration, so that you can ultimately create an ecosystem of academic excellence, not just for yourself, but for the people that you are called to serve. This gentleman that we're going to be talking to today is not just a best-selling author, not just a presence-centered leadership coach, but he's passionate about destroying distractions and continually reminding spiritually minded, high-achieving leaders who they truly are. But he's not just titles and all of these different things that we've talked about. He's a friend. He's a mentor. He's a guide. And he's someone that I believe that in the next 30 to 45 minutes of you listening into this episode will change your life. Christian, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. I'm leaning in, and I'm like, who is this brother that he is about to bring on right now? I mean, I'm captivated, and I'm the person you're talking about. But just your tone, your presence, and who you are, I'm like, really, like, tell me more. Who is it? So no, it's an honor to be here. Listen, not only is the intro contagious, this culture that you have set is contagious, and I'm glad that I'm now affected right by it. Like I caught the bug. It's a great thing. How are you, man?
Man, I'm amazing. I really am. It's interesting because the world and our audience wasn't in our conversation yesterday. But what I will say at the beginning of this episode, since our conversation yesterday, I really believe that my life has changed. How I've approached reflection, how I've approached my work. I rearranged certain aspects of my calendar to remove distractions, but then also to include the plans that I believe that God has for me so that we can begin to do this work and not operate from a place of fear, lack, or distraction. So I just want to just give you your flowers publicly, loudly, and just say that you are exactly the embodiment of what you talk about.
Ooh, wow.
So
I did not expect that. Bless you,
so
man. Thank you.
Before we get too deep in it, can you just introduce people to who you are, the light that you are, and what you're doing to transform lives? Let's get to it.
Matt, well, you did a great job of it. Pretty much exactly what you said. I'm a present-centered leadership coach and speaker, helping spirit-led, high-achieving leaders destroy distractions, align with their God, mind, God, source, life, beauty, whatever name you want to call it, right? We okay with it? Fortify your focus, so that they can, really live, right, from that divine assignment without losing themselves in the process. So I deal with a lot of leaders who have dealing with this self-pressure. And we talked a little bit about this yesterday, Kyle, like this self-pressure that we put on ourselves or and culture has put on us, so forth and so on. So it's like, let's align with the reason why we are here. And if we align with that, then we start to see that there's a flow. And so that's my heart. That's my posture. That's what I get up and I lay down with. That's no matter where I am, whether I'm in the church world, whether I'm in the corporate world, marketplace, whether it was my family, whether it's on the street. I am helping people destroy distractions, align with their higher self, and fortify those focuses that they have.
There's so much to unpack in that last sentence. To really understand how to do this work, we first have to understand what are distractions. Because I think that a lot of people, as you grow, in my opinion, distractions are disguised by opportunities. And I think a lot of times what we think distractions are my phone and TV and all of these things. But can you talk to us about what are distractions and how do they show up in our lives?
Well, yeah, you know what? And I think those things that you mentioned can be a part of it, but it is such a bigger picture. But I actually believe it's in the word, right? Distractions. When you take that word distraction, you have DIS and all those DISs in our life, right? Dysfunction, right? I'm discouraged, like all those things that are there. When you remove DIS, then you have the word traction. If you remove the TR, then you have action. So for me, distractions are anything that needs to be removed out of your life that's hindering you from building that traction that leads to that God action for which you were created here for. And that's that purpose, that's that peace, that's that power, that's that area that we live, breathe, that we thrive within. And so, yes, the phone and yes, all those can be distractions, but guess what? They also can be a source to help realign us as well, depending on our focus, our mindset. I come from the background of a Christ-centered perspective, so forgive me if I go there a little bit, right? But it's a scripture that says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so that mindset it's the pop. That's it. If we come from the area of the mindset and realize every day I have to make the decision to be sold out for the reason for which I'm here. And I know within this culture of education, right, and in entrepreneurship, sometimes, listen, I spent 10 years in special education, and I had a blast. I learned some of my most valuable lessons. But at certain times, we would get called in and realize that there's certain tests that had to take place, right? There's different times that this IEP needed to be met, or this had to happen, or due process, or something would happen. And we would be tempted with, I know the purpose for which we're here for this student, and with the standardized tests and everything that needs to go on. But sometimes being in performance, right, mode can mess us up by really being in presence mode and be a form of distraction. And the kids, the students, they always could identify it, and they can feel the teacher, the educator, the principal, the leader who is really caring for them, right? Or the person that's just trying to get the job done. Both can be true, but how we choose to destroy these distractions really help not only us to move forward in our isness, our greatness, but it really creates an atmosphere of the culture for which anybody can thrive in.
Let's land right there. When you show up better, it creates an atmosphere that everyone can thrive in. Why is it important and our responsibility to be more present and not performative so that we can then create that atmosphere?
Well, first off, let me answer it this way, okay? Looking within, okay, we're in a whole world where it's about external validation, external things. Outside, I get it. I appreciate it. I understand it. But when we look within, there's something powerful about aligning ourselves, telling our story. Yes, we have the education. Yes, we move forward. But when we look within and align in that area, there's a different area of vibration, the frequency, if you will, that will have us to connect with what the universe, what God is doing. And we're able to lead from a place of presence that will automatically by default meet the performance or whatever it is, right? I was a nonprofit organization as well prior to going full-time in business. And I realized that sometimes there were grants. There were some different investors and different things that would come into place. And we had different things that we needed to meet, right, by performance base. But the team that I helped lead, I said, we'll get there, but we have to do it from who we are. So I went around and I asked the staff that I overseen, I said, listen, what is your passion? Why are you here on earth? And they're like, well, okay, because this is what I realized. We had a huge turnaround in special education. Like people got burnt out, Kyle. I mean, really burnt out. I mean, I watched in a 10-year span, probably over 50 people come in and out of this program that I was in, and they got burnt out. And I'm like, why? Because they use it as a stepping stone. If I come in here and I get from here, then I can advance. And it was all about advancement. But the true heart posture was their advancement where they really wanted to be was way up here. But where they were there wasn't. But does it mean that the students should be cheated because you aren't where you are supposed, where you want to desire and where you want to be? But when you look within, you can see your isness and you can see you all through every step. And I think that You didn't ask this, but I'm going here. I think that what's going to help us create this culture that is so contagious is that when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is be honest with myself and I look within. And I realize that I have to destroy the distractions for me. You heard my isness. You heard where I am. Destroy distractions, align with God, fortify your focus. So that helps me with my yeses and my nos in education. It helps me in my yeses and my nos and everywhere that I operate within. And people can feel that. We had met. You said, I feel this. It's not something I just studied. It's something I live. I think true education is not just something it's not just information. It's information that goes to transformation and demonstration. And I'll pull back from there.
Information that goes to transformation and then demonstration. Information that goes to transformation, that goes to demonstration. Before we go into how you implement the work that you do, how did you even get to this point? Because there's someone listening right now. It's like, look, he is on fire. He is amazing. But I don't have that energy. I don't have that in me. He must have just been born this way. He must just have that gift to be able to deliver in this way. Can you talk to us about what did it take for you to be able to get to this perspective?
Man, I have a coach in my life that just said, he just said this week in one of our sessions. He said, I learned the most out of the times where I messed up. He says, being successful and, getting the $50,000 checks and getting this and getting that, all the accolades, like, that's great. But I didn't learn a lot in those seasons, right? And it really hit me that, to answer your question, it was from all the mess ups, but now I view them as just detours, navigating that. But it's because I was the person on March 2nd, my life changed. I came off of a platform speaking, and somebody who knows me and loves me, I'll just call them Bobby to protect their name. They said to me, Christian, it's really hard to listen to you speak. Because you don't sound like you anymore, right? It's really hard to listen to. You don't sound like your authentic voice of you, right? And so I wrote this book that's called When You're Speaking But Still Silent. It comes from this moment. And I had to realize that something hit me hard. I realized that I had built an unhealthy reliance on external voices and things and people that I had admired. And I was suffering silently from mimicry, mass messaging, and misalignment. So I knew how in the church world to get the amens, or in coaching, I could quote this person or do this. And, those of us who are teachers and educators, we know how to put a lesson together to do what needs to be done. But the man and the brand was misaligned. And because of that, I had to do some real soul searching and alignment and learn God beyond religion and do all types of things to get me to this place. So once I gave my yes, my sacred yes, my really yes to God, source, life, beauty, life, I said, look, this is what I'm dialed into. And I'll commit to this cause. But this is my not my contingency, because I submitted myself to it, but it was an area of me just really saying, like, I don't want to worry about finances. I don't want to worry about how many followers I want. I don't want to worry about all those things I cared about on the external side. I want to lay my head down at night to know that when I release what it is that you gave me, my authentic voice in this season to help people destroy distractions, align with God, fortify their focus, that you are pleased with me. And from there, I trust all the hows and everything else and give it up to you. So for me, it is a life call now because of I lived a life. And here's the thing that's scary. If we're educators and teachers, you have a following, whether it's your students, social media, thought leaders, it doesn't matter. And for me, it was dangerous to be a person who had a brand and the man didn't align with the brand. And that's the part that hits my heart, because there are people out there with millions of followers, but the brand is not the man or the woman. And man, I mean, not gender neutral pertaining to that, but that part hits my heart. And so I said, how can I be the microphone stand for those with the microphone in this season? Because that can be hard. It's not that you're trying to be imposter syndrome. It's like a self-dissonance. Like, it's just, I'm growing, I'm emerging, but this is what I am known for may not be who I am now. And when you have that gap, that can be a very dangerous and miserable place while you are external successful, because it's like everybody views me as that, but I'm not that man, I'm not that woman anymore. So I'm in this space to say, listen, who I am and who and the brand, like it continues to move, but it's through my basis. So let's go back, peel all the layers and the titles away, and let's just talk about Kyle. Kyle, who are you? What's your true passion? We had this conversation yesterday, and we realized that thing that you have is all throughout your life and has, will, and continue to. You can take that anywhere. I think when we live from that space, life is a lot sweeter.
Mm. I want to sit in this for a second. You said something that really just transformed how I look at a lot of things, and I'm in this journey now. And when you communicated the brand is not the man, it really just did something to me, because I think that a lot of times what I've learned is when I was not congruent with who I was communicating I was, who God was calling me, and who people thought I was, it was more stress, more overwhelm, less performance, lower productivity, and this feeling of overwhelm until yesterday. And when we had that conversation, I had to ask myself, well, what in my life am I doing that is out of alignment with where I'm being called or pulled? And then the second question is, well, Kyle, why are you committing to these things? When I unpacked why I'm committing to these things, is because, well, I've been seen doing these things, so I have to keep up this image or keep this brand, rather than just throwing it away and stepping in only and trusting in only where I'm supposed to be. Christian, it's taken years of education and books for me to be able to get to the point where I can self-reflect and be able to do this work and be able to go through that process. But there's someone listening right now that wants to know, how do I know that I'm out of alignment? How do I even know what I'm supposed to be doing? How can I start taking steps to being in alignment with my man and my brand? How would you say that they're in alignment?
In my book, I talk about the rinse method. And this rinse method, and I think we can even talk about it from, let's just say for the theme of this, where we are, a presence-centered culture. Okay, even from that educators, a lot of educators are listening in now. But no matter where you are, this works for you. These principles are transferable. But when I was a younger, my mom would always say, when you have irritation in your throat, Christian, I want you to get warm salt water, and I want you to swish it around in your mouth. Don't swallow it, but spit it out. And so an acronym came from there for me, from that situation in my life, and it's called the rinse method. And so let's go with the R first. All right. So R is to recognize the distractions. And we are talking a lot about that. I talked about what the distractions are, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on that, right? But when we're coming to that area and we're realizing the man and the brand may be an area of misalignment, like, you do have to look within and ask yourself, okay, what am I here on earth for? What I feel like I was sent here for? What is the passion? What is it that people go to me for? Right? When I look at my phone and there's a text message, or I pick up the phone, or I go into the office, or I go into the classroom, if the family contacts me, there's something along the way that you'll start to see that they come to you for, right? Whether it's strategy, whether it's wisdom, insight, people connected, it's task related, whatever it is, identifying what those things are, right, is going to help you to dial in on your expression of why you're here, your true passion. Maybe for some of you, some of your frustration, man, I can't stand when this, and this. Okay, pay attention to it. Release the anger. It's okay, but come from that perspective of really realizing, okay, I'm passionate about this. There's something here for me to do. Why are always people coming to me complaining about this and that? Or why do they come here with a nasty attitude? Maybe you have the light or the joy that's within you, and you're to shift those atmospheres, or create that contagious culture for people to shift their perspective and move forward. Okay, so that's going to help get with that gap. But once you come from that area, recognizing what the distractions are, anything that's outside of that could be that distraction, right? So for me, somebody comes over and they say, man, I need a nurse to come over here and speak to this about that. Well, I'm not a nurse, but I'm connected to it. And that's another thing for you. What you are, that's the power of networking. What you're not, you're connected to. So you can still say yes to your things and not feel like you're in lack, and you can release what you're not to what you're connected to. But we got to recognize those distractions, and that can show up in the area of our teaching shifts from nurturing presence to chasing test scores and performance, right? I is to identify your divine assignment, what we're talking about, right? You're not just transferring information. You are shaping students. You're shaping businesses. You're shaping lives, cultivating leaders. And people don't just remember what you taught them, they remember how you made them feel. And that's why this culture is really contagious and it's powerful, right? Some of the best educators is not just the information said, it's how they made me feel when I came into a classroom or in a church or in their program, so forth and so on, right? The end is to neutralize those distractions with truth, with truth, with truth. Okay? Because truth is going to set you free and have you in an area of freedom. There's so many lies and things that are out there, and we believe those lies, but neutralize those distractions. What you feed will live, but what you starve will eventually die off. So let's neutralize, let's kill, let's destroy these distractions with the truth and then the truth of who you are. And maybe you've been at a place and you've built that brand. Let me encourage you right now. You have a call, you have a purpose, you have you are the head, not the tail. You were born a winner. You had to fight so many sperms, if I say that, to get to the egg, and you won. So if you ever feel like a loser, you started this thing off as a winner. And because you're a winner and you operate in this life, don't allow your skin color, don't allow your gender, don't allow your belief system, don't allow your phase of what you're believing in. Don't allow any of those things to limit you or become distractions or noise that keeps you from operating in the truth for which you are called and created here. You're right. You are capable. You are creative. You are called. Put that in your mouth in the comment section. Write it down. I am capable. I am creative. I am called. S. We talked about it a little bit. Starve what is misaligned, but strengthen what is divine. Starve the busy work. Strengthen the reflection, the collaboration, and the encouragement. Starve what every morning I wake up, I try to come into a place of gratitude. But Kyle, there's a place too in my morning reflection where I work on releasing what no longer serves me. And so I shared with you before we hit record that I woke up. I didn't have a good sleep last night. Crazy dreams, crazy things that are going on. But when I got up, I felt heavy. But I know that for me to produce out of that place of heaviness is not going to be fruitful. It's a distraction. So how am I going to help people destroy distractions in line with God, fortify their focus? And I start off at that place. So I punch distractions in the face by coming in that area of alignment and realizing who I am and realize I needed to starve what that had to release what no longer served me. That heaviness didn't serve me, right? That lie that was in the dream didn't serve me. That feeling, that thought that kept going around, that self-pressure, it didn't serve me. So I had to strengthen now my prayer, my reflection, my collaboration, realizing I get the opportunity to speak life on this contagious culture platform and podcast, right? And then E is to execute from your center with your focused action. Start grounded in presence. Teach with intention. Release that assignment daily. And that's what it's really about. And I believe if we practice those things, and this is not just a one-time thing, I do this daily, okay? Where I got to remind myself, it can help us to align the man with the brand.
I am a new teacher. I am at a new school, and I'm really struggling. I really wanted to get into education. I really wanted to do this work to be able to empower students. And I recognize the distractions. I do. But how do I put the systems in place to be able to also identify my divine assignment and neutralize these distractions with truth and starve what is misaligned so that I can ultimately execute from my center? What are systems and processes that I need to put in place to be able to be better in my craft?
Yeah, you know what? First off, because I'm a huge going inner work. Okay, so this inner work. So I'm gonna go there first. Like, you have to protect your peace. If realizing I'm here at this school as a teacher, why am I here? Why am I here? Like, ask yourself that question. Why am I here? If it's the money, I'm gonna ask you to dig deeper, because we all know education, you ain't in there for the dollars per se. All right. So if it's an opportunity, a stepping stone, like, really, you have to be in that. Again, you don't have to believe the way that I believe, but center that what you're there, that purpose is bigger than yourself. We should all at least be able to agree that I feel connected to the student. And this is the type of thing that I need to release, whether it's connected to my story because I had ADHD or I had this, or whatever the case may be. Sit with that reason why you're there. That will help protect that peace. So when everything else happens, you can still realize and say, look, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for this. Well, the boss comes in, teacher, principal comes in, we're doing this, we're doing that. We should filter that. Yes, by law, we need to go through this. Yes, we got to do this, we got to do that. But it all should lead back to me from my core and my center. If I'm in the classroom right now, Christian becomes a teacher. Does this change? No. How can I help my students destroy distractions? How can I have them align with their higher mind? How can I help them fortify their focus in this assignment, in their passion? And it's there. If I'm an educator and I'm teaching, man, I hate this subject per se, but I'm a teacher. I have a gift of that. What strategy can I come up with to help them move forward? We have to realize that there is a earth realm, and I'll just say it this way, and there's a realm beyond the earth that is bigger than us, okay? And when you come from that place, you're here operating in one, but you have access to the other. That's where your superpower is, and that's not way out there. That's within here. So destroying those distractions, aligning with yourself, being in that place of focus, know your assignment, protect your peace, and operate from your center. Here's another thing. Be careful with who you call your circle. Because you are a product of that. I can even remember being around certain people and I'm like, how do I not be rude, but realize that I'm a different space and place? It's okay to be silent.
How do you do it? How do you do that? Like, because, and you understand this more than probably most people, there's a culture in schools. There's a culture in a lot of spaces that is where we accept gossip. And one of the quotes that I recently posted is, contagious culture isn't about what you do, it's about what you accept, because what you accept becomes the language, that invisible language of what can be allowed in this building. And if we don't stop gossip, or if we don't stop negativity, or if we don't stop certain things, people coming late, or address these things, then that forms your culture. Can you talk about how do we actually set boundaries or implement various things when these things show up so that we can be better?
Yeah, love it out of them. Okay, that's one area. I would write that down. And number two, I would say that, let's go with the love it out of them first. When you love it out of them, second part is shift their perspective higher. Okay, so if I go off in a tangent, bring me back right there, Kyle. Okay. Love it out of them, because while I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and we talk about this. Oh, that student, is I can't even, always making trouble. He's doing this, he's doing that. You're sitting there, you're listening to all this stuff, and in your inner self, you're like, yeah, but if he's doing that, then we can shift that. Like, it's okay through love to be like, you know what? I had Johnny too, but this is what I did. Or have you tried this? Because we can shut down the nonsense. All a person wants to do is to keep finding agreement with what they're feeling, right? And project, but you can sit from there and love it out of them and say, look, let me shift your perspective. Do you mind if I give you a suggestion, or would you try this? Or here's one that I would love. Do you mind if I speak to that student? Remember I said information, transformation, demonstration. So if I can show and have a conversation and display this, because I've seen that two settings. One is, oh, no, I'm good, I'll do that. It automatically makes that person look within. Even if pride comes up, they're like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be nasty to shut down the noise. I'm going to just love it out of them. I'm going to just sit there and smile. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Or maybe let them get it out and say, okay, look, now you got it out. That's cool. But what could we do to really change the life of Johnny? Because sometimes we got to release it because it's an area of frustration, right? And have them shift their perspective higher. Where you are at that frequency, listen, you can go higher and higher and higher. You can transmute that energy to a higher place. Let's go higher. That should be your inner motto. Okay, cool. We got this out there. Now we got to go higher. Listen, I'm with you. I had a student that was frustrated too. This is some things that I did, and I'm with you. But you know what? We can't stay there. Pull back to what the isness of it is and operate from your genius, right? Let's destroy this distraction right now. I'm operating from me, right? What, don't you think that any other classroom that they've been in, they've been labeled? I heard the teacher from last year talk about that. What if you have the power inside of you to really shift it for Johnny?
That's good.
That's what I mean by love it out of them and just help them shift higher, because people don't want to be miserable, and it's just sometimes we're in our own things. So we don't have to be like we're the master and you need to do what I say, but come from a place of love. People feel that, man. How can I help you out? Do you mind if we talk about this? If they do, pray with them. If they don't, that's okay. You can still do what you need to do and help align from there. And it's these living strategies for me. It's not these areas of just do 1, 2, and 3 to get this result. It's because we're talking about energy now. We're talking about life. We're talking about feelings, right? That education, the transformation, and demonstration, and making sure that the best thing for me is to demonstrate what it is that I stand for. So now I'm gonna talk about love. I need to represent love. And by the way, when you make a stand for to go against the curve, people are watching you and waiting for you to fall. So I also advise you to make sure that you are doing what you need to do for yourself, and not just to be the one that is speaking it out over everybody else.
I think it's powerful when you share examples like that, because every student and even every adult comes with a story. They come with a set of experiences that have shaped their perspective, their behaviors, their ability to be able to communicate and navigate in these spaces. And if we don't take the time to really understand the story of individuals, then we don't allow ourselves to have grace and to be empathetic and show compassion with these students, which allows it to challenge us to love these students and love all of these things out of them, or even love teaching to the perspective of where we need to go. What do you say is the story that didn't just make you the present center leadership coach, but what is the story in your life that made you the man that you are today?
I would probably go back to my childhood. See, I lost my biological father at the age of like 5 or 6. So I had grew up just being like, okay, um, had friends and they go over there and they had a traditional, father, mother type of situation. I would go home to my single mother, or I would have to go over cousins and family members' houses because my mom had to work, all those hours and getting up really, or I got dropped off at the cousin, so forth and so on. I've experienced being teased. I've experienced being told I wasn't going to be this. I'm the person that when we got in the classroom and, you did the reading and you go around and the teacher just go and say, we're all going to read a paragraph. I'm pre-reading the paragraph because I didn't read well, right? So I'm like, okay, it's 4 students before it gets to me. Let me pre-read my, y'all act like y'all ain't been there. Don't leave me out there, y'all, right?
I've been there.
That's me in that area, that light. So I'm like, okay. And I always felt like, because for me, the absence of the father or the father wound that I had something that was missing. So even one of the things I even say at the end of anything that I do, I say, remind you, there's nothing missing, there's nothing lacking, there's nothing broken within you. And I realized for me that the father wound can go so deep in the world. I think there's, whether you had your father present or not, just for me, the absence of that father had really did something for me. And yes, I have a father now. If you ever hear me talk about my dad, I'm talking about my stepdad, but I don't do stepdads because steps is what you walk on. So I just call him my dad. And so moving forward into that space, it's like now God bless me with 3 boys. I have twins that are 16 and I have 11-year-old. Bro, you want to talk about life lessons and how that thing came full circle? So now I deal with it from a different perspective. I'm like, I didn't have this growing up. So now how can I raise 3 humans with something I never had? I had to go beyond just a book that I was reading. I read a lot of books to really realize that I had it all along. And for me, it was a heavenly father and some earthly mentors that came together to help fill that gap. And because of that and that love that I realized, how you're growing up, you need that shoulder to say, look, I appreciate you. This is what you did, whatever. Like, because I didn't have that from that. I had it from my mom. I had a very loving mom who did the best. She's amazing. I salute her. All the flowers. There's nothing, trust me. But for me, as a man growing up, I felt like I needed something that I didn't have. So I felt like I had something missing. So because of that, it just shifted my heart posture to be a coach, but also is a representation of a father, right? To be a mentor, which in it can be an area of a father. Like when it strips down every title from me, like I'm really fathering a generation to help them to destroy distractions, align with God, and fortify that focus.
Christian, how often do you tell that story?
I don't tell that particular one a whole lot. No.
And that story really just touched me, because I believe that watching my father preach on Sundays, watching how the audience would respond to him, watching how much he coached as a basketball coach or as a football coach, how he took children in, and
Mm,
how even children and adults to this day still recognize him as this leader, and how he changed their lives, inspired me to want to do that work today. And I didn't realize that until just now.
mm.
I believe
Wow.
that these seeds were planted while I was in diapers and
Mhm.
showing up, or even being at church and falling asleep, waking up, and he's still up there, and people are responding to him and getting pinched by my mom to like wake up because we're literally on the front row. And even though I didn't go the traditional route through education, I believe it's that story that I even need to share more that inspired me to do this work on
Mhm.
a daily basis and be able to transform lives. Can you talk to the educator right now that has a story,
Mhm.
that has something similar to you, that has something that they maybe don't share enough, but why it's important to pull back from that place in order to show up on a daily basis to pull students forward?
Yeah, I believe in my weakness I'm made strong, and
Mm,
because of that, I live a transparent life, and so, and you can see the whole vibe just shifted when you shared that because it hits me in a different place. I am the father who tells my kids I'm sorry. I am the father who says I never raised twins before. I am the father who may have fussed and did something wrong, came back around, prayed, came back, talked to them. I'm the one that has conversations with my twins. They have insight, they have input in the decisions that are being made. I am that type of dad. And for me, I realize for me, I am raising, my wife and I, we're raising three black, brown young men that will be released to a world that may or may not fully understand who they are, that I love and near and dear to my heart. But as I'm releasing them to the world, I need them to be equipped through every aspect of it. And that doesn't just mean me showing them my victories. That doesn't mean me just showing them my trophies, just me, just, oh man, your dad was like this in the day. That's not, it's that, it's me really preparing them. My kids have cell phone bills right now, right? They just got them cell phone bills. They want cars. Like I'm taking them through the area. Between the full time in my business and me being bivocational for so many years, I had to come to my kids and say, within the week, I got let go from this job.
mm,
Let's come together as a family and let's pray and talk. Listen, we're not operating from lack, but things may need to shift. I promised y'all two cars. We might can only do one in this particular season. You got what I'm saying? And so for me, I had to humble myself and realize that it's not just about me, it's about who works through me. And there's some lessons to be learned along the way. And so I think that I've got, I mean, you could ask them, I'll give you their number, but I think that there's been more love and closeness by me being real and transparent versus just being the father or the leader that says, this is how you do it. You need to do it this way. I've shared my mistakes and I want them to know it. And I share in their mistakes as well. And I'm honest. I had to stop lying to myself, Kyle. I was lying to myself,
yeah.
wrapping it in faith, wrapping it in this, wrapping it in all that. It was lies to myself. And once I got honest with myself and started falling in love with myself or who I am and not the gifts that Kyle has that I'm lusting after, it
Mm.
started changing for me.
What I hear is values, and you are rooted in something much more than probably even people give credit to.
Hmm.
What's the most important value that you live by, and how did you learn to ensure that that value was the foundation of how you're showing up every day?
Well, love God and look at yourself. I mean, that's just what it's been for me. Like, we are in a world that always is looking at somebody else. And we skip over ourselves sometimes to make us feel better. But for me, I've experienced. I have a client. We were coaching about this the other day. What I experience, I express, and
Mm,
because Kyle, I experience love. I experience forgiveness. I experience joy. I experience gratitude. I experience a new morning, a new day, a new chapter. I experience do-overs. I experience all these things. Now I express them. So I can express forgiveness. I can express love. I can express joy because it's what I'm experiencing. And I get from what I believe is my heavenly Father and coming from that place. And so what I experience, I express. And if I'm experiencing the area of frustration or anger, or all those things, then I'm looking within, like I said, to realize, okay, what part of this is me? What part is this that? And sometimes I do release the anger. And sometimes it's a enmity, a righteous one, but sometimes it ain't. But I still can look within and come to that realization and apologize. But for me, it's loving God and looking within. And those two things in alignment will cause me by a byproduct. So the things that I've tried to do to make myself look good, it's just natural. Right now, I'm being who I am. This is me. On camera or off camera, degree or no degree, title or no title, this is who I am. If my wife comes in the studio or anybody else, this same man and the brand, I can honestly say, is finally aligned. And because of that, I'm free. I'm free.
If you had 60 seconds to share a message with all of the teachers that would listen today, what would your message be?
I give you 10. Ready? Destroy distractions. Align with your higher self, God, source, beauty, life, whatever you want to call it. Fortify your focus and the reason that you're here. There are people who are waiting on your yes, your full yes. Take the time and responsibility to be the best version of you so that you can stop cheating people from 50% of your expression and be 100% you and release that in the earth.
Somebody's listening right now. They hear that. What's their homework?
I would actually say, if you're in a place, because a lot of times for us, it's this mode, we got to go, we got to do. Your homework, first thing to do is pause. To actually pause, to take this particular episode and to make sure that you're listening to it again with the ear to hear what is speaking to your inner man. That's your homework. Pause. Go back, listen to this again. And just as well as Kyle been writing some things down, what hit your heart, your mind, take them through. Answer those questions. This is the assignment. It's been given to you. It didn't cost you nothing. It's free. It's out there, but it has the potential to change your life. Not by what Kyle or Christian were particularly saying, but what is released and what you feel and what you sense. So pause where you are. Just pause. Pause. Take your calendar out. Like you make yourself a date with yourself. Get on your calendar and say, look, I need a 45-minute gap where I'm going to date myself with this episode, and I'm going to go through this thing, really be serious about this, pull it out, whatever I feel like is aligned with me, and I'm moving forward from there.
Christian, this has been life-changing. And everybody listening right now, I actually do want you to take the time to pause. I actually do want you to take the time to date yourself and understand how important it is to recognize distractions, how important it is to identify your divine assignment, that thing that you were called to do. And you know what it is because you try to put it off, you try to bury it, you try to not do it because of other people's perspectives and words and opinions. I want you to do it though. It's important that you neutralize these distractions with truth. You have to start showing up as who you are. And in order for you to be better for others, you have to start being better for yourself. You have to start being honest with yourself. You know you're not feeling the best in that relationship because it's a distraction. It's not moving you towards destiny. You know that job, that school is not where you're supposed to be. You have calling much higher than those four walls. You know that circle that you're in is keeping you in a box that is taking you and crippling you from what you're supposed to be doing. And when you step on that, then now we starve what is misaligned. This gives you the opportunity, the power, and the privilege to execute at a higher level. Do yourself a favor today and go get some information. Do yourself a favor today to demonstrate this information so that you can do what Christian just said throughout this whole episode, so that you can ultimately be transformative for the people that you were called to serve. Christian, where can we find more information about you, and how can people support the work that you're doing?
Oh, thank you, man. I'm on LinkedIn. A part of that journey that we talked about when I was really in my March 2nd experience, I came off of all social media because a lot of it was a distraction. So the only form of social media I am on is on LinkedIn right now and on YouTube by my podcast called the Present Center Podcast. But you can look me up on LinkedIn, Christian F. Johnson. My website is imchristianfjohnson.com, and that's for speaking and coaching. And the Present Centered podcast is on YouTube. The book that I spoke about is When You're Speaking But Still Silent, and that's by Christian F. Johnson, and that's on Amazon.
Solid. Just real quick, if you have some time, can you talk to people about how to work with you? Like, what does coaching look like in working with you?
Yeah. So what we do is typically, as we're connecting again through LinkedIn or you hit in my inbox, we hop on a discovery call, and that's for me just to really listen, to hear your heart, to learn more about you, your passion, to really help to solidify the reason for which you are here on earth for. And then from there, we go through some packages where I go through the rinse method. I share it with you. I have in the 7 L's of alignment, which is another path, and also fortifying your flow and how you operate. And so from there, it's pretty much one-on-one. That's the difference. I'm not at this point in time offering group coaching, nor am I having a course on site. So when you're hiring a coach, you're hiring me, not my assistant or anything else. It's me. So I don't take a whole lot of clients a month. It's usually a 6-week opportunity, a 12-week opportunity, or we lock in for 6 months. And then from there, we talk, we do life, we connect, and ultimately make sure that you are destroying distractions aligned with God and fortifying your focus.
Thank you so much, Christian. Look, brother, I appreciate you. You know that so much. Anybody listening, I want you to pause this episode and go back to the beginning and watch it over. And then once you get to this point, I want you to pause it again and do the same thing until you actually start to walk in the steps that you were called to walk into. Until you are rinsing every day, similar to how Christian showed up. You are rinsing away your doubt. You are rinsing away your fear. You are rinsing away other people's opinion. You are rinsing away your anxiety and your worry. You are rinsing away anything that is beneath where you're supposed to be. You have to fortify your focus by minimizing distractions so that you can step into the place that you are called to step into. We want you to like, subscribe, and share this episode. We want you to connect with Christian on all platforms. Go buy 10 books for all of the teachers that you are called to minister to. Book him to speak and hire him as your coach. Hire him as your coach. Thank you again for another episode of the Contagious Culture podcast. I'm your host, Kyle King. And one of the questions that we also ask every single episode that I want you to answer this week is, what type of culture am I spreading? Remember this: the energy you bring is the culture you create. Make yours worth catching. We'll see you next episode.